In today's webinar, we're going to be discussing what MaxDup OS is and what it's about, showing you some of the features that we have with our MaxDup OS product, as well as showing you our new detailed enhanced viewer. Well, what is MaxDup OS? Well, MaxDup OS is a duplicate identification program that helps eliminate duplicates by using a pattern recognition technology to help identify and eliminate duplicate records. You may ask, well, what does this mean? I'll explain to you in just a moment. And also you might ask, what can it be used on the operating systems? I'll let you know that also, as well as the type of data that you can input, and showing you or telling you a little bit about our engine. So let's go ahead with the first question. What does this mean? Well, it means that you can input multiple lists or multiple names, and the program will eliminate the duplicates by name, address, city, state, and zip, or some other criteria that you've given us, and come out with one clean list. You can use that list for mailing or just as a master list that you're trying to have on your system. The platforms that are available to run the Dup OS program are Linux, Unix, as well as Windows. The type of data that you can use is comma delimited, flat files, database files, custom delimited, and many more. The engine technology that we have is so good. What it does is it can use up to 90% of your CPU, and what this means for you is not only will the program run faster for you, but if you're running other applications in the background, such as other anchor applications or non-anchor applications, it has a throttle back technology. What this means is it pulls back so that it pulls off of some of your CPU, so you don't see a slowdown of the other applications that you're using, and you don't see the slowdown with the MaxDup OS program. So we're pretty proud of that. Next, let me tell you a little bit about our features. So some of our features that I'm going to be showing you are within our GUI. So our GUI has 4 sections. It has the input section, the output section, the matching section, and the report section. Let me show you the input section. The input section has 3 panels. It has an input panel, a priority panel, and an exclusions panel. Let me show you what they can do. So the input panel, basically this is where you're inputting the file that you're going to run through the process, or files that you're going to run through the process. I did want to let you know that those files do not have to be all the same format. So you can have one file that is delimited, and another file that is flat, and another file that is custom delimited. They don't all have to be the same format, so we give you a lot of flexibility. Also, if you identify for us the list codes that you're running through the process, by identifying the field of the list code that you're going to be running through, we can separate at the end on the report and show you the duplicates that dropped out according to each particular list code. And if you assign a priority, which is here at the bottom, we can eliminate those duplicates or identify those duplicates according to the priority that you've chosen for one list to go against another list. We've also made a great new feature, which is you have the ability to assign priority codes dynamically. What this means is you can assign a priority code by individual record. Again, if you identify that for us in your layout, and the list code and the priority code are in the data, and you don't have to input the information. We can pull that information according to what you have in the actual file. So that's a great feature that we've added in there. Up above, you will also see seed code field position. Well, what this benefits you in the way that, let's say that you have, let's say, 4 or 5 seeds that you're adding in either for your company or for your customer, and they all have the same address. And you're running a duplicate identification process, and you're doing it by resident, which is 1 per address. Well, normally, those would all kick out, but we've taken care of that for you. So if you add a Y or an S within your data, those seeds will survive all the way through the process, even though they match another one with the same exact address, so that the seed can be mailed out in your mailing or whatever purposes you're using the seed for. It'll survive all the way to the net file. Great feature that we've added in there. Also, if you'll see up above, standardized addresses. What this means is if you have our CAS OS program, this will allow the files to get standardized in the background. That doesn't mean it's going to touch your addresses, but it means it's going to standardize through the matching process so that you get better matching. Don't get worried. We don't touch that address coming out. It'll be the same exact address going in as it was coming, as it is going out. We only do that in the background so it gets better matching. Another great thing that we've also done with our DupeOS program is it allows you to run multiple projects at one time, just like our other OS systems. So you can be having 4 DupeOS projects going on at once, and you don't have to open up another GUI in order to run another project. It will simply dock that information. Let me show you that information. So right here, what you will notice, and it's a little hard to see, but there'll be a tab for each project that you have running. And you have the ability to grab that tab, which I'm showing you right here, and move it either if you have multiple screens, you can move the project to the screen on your left or the screen on your right, as well as moving that project maybe to the right-hand side of your screen or the bottom side of your screen. So we try to help you and make your work environment as easy flowing as possible when running our DupeOS program. Next is the priority panel. So if you recall on the very first screen, I did tell you that you have the ability to assign priorities dynamically. Well, let's say that you don't want to do that and you just want to assign priority by your list code. Here, what you would do is enter the list code and the priority of how you want that list to be going through the duplicate identification process against the other list. Once you enter that information, you click Add, and it populates in this screen. You may ask, oh my gosh, I have so many lists that I have to input. I don't want to sit there and enter all of them every single time I run the program. Guess what? We've taken care of that for you. If you have that information in a CSV, comma delimited file, and it has the list codes and the priority and optional, the name that you've assigned for that particular list code, and you import information right here with this little import button, you can populate that information with a CSV file with the screen. And the next time you run the program, guess what? You just simply import it because you already did the legwork one time. So again, we're trying to make this as easy flowing and a process for you. Next, the exclusions panel. The exclusions panel is basically exactly what it stands for. Let's say that you have a list that you don't want to bump up against another list when it goes through the duplicate identification process. Here's where you would add that exclusion. Keep in mind, This is optional. It's not a required step in your process. This is simply if you want to exclude one list against another list when going through the duplicate identification process. Also, if you'll notice, there's little tabs right here on the left and the right. You can also scroll through as well as click through the GUI itself. So we try to make it as easy as possible when you're going through the process. The output section, this is exactly what it sounds like. So this is where we customize information for you, or we allow you to customize information on your output. It has 3 panels: the output panel, the net file panel, and the dupe file panel. First, let me show you the output panel. The output panel, pretty simple. All you're doing here is assigning an active working directory. This is where all your reports would go. This is where any files that get produced with the MaxDup OS program. And like our other OS programs, it has multi-threading capabilities. What does that mean to you? That means that you can customize how quickly and how many threads you want to run through the process. So if you'll see right here, it says threads for processing. It has a little drop down. It has a choice of how many cores you want to run, i.e. threads, through the process. What this means is when it's running through the process, in this particular case, I've chosen 4 cores. So what that's going to do is it's going to spread my data information out into 4 different threads. So now it's processing 4 times as quickly the information, so my project runs faster. And again, this is according to what you're running on your system and what kind of hardware you have, so all that comes into play. But if you have everything going good, you can just fire this up to run as quickly or as many cores as you want to run through the program itself. Next, the net and the dupe file panels. I'm just showing you one because they look the same. Basically, all you're doing is assigning the location and the name of your net file or your dupe file. If you choose to assign it just the name, it's going to go in your working directory. So that's all it's doing. So also, I did want to let you know, here is where you can assign a different layout. So if you choose to omit fields that you had in your input layouts, here's where you can assign information to be either omitted by creating a different output layout or add additional fields to go through. So again, the key is we're trying to let you customize your information all the way through the process. Next, the matching section. This is where the magic happens. So we have 3 sections: the Rythm section, the Bubble Up section, and, panel. Speaking out of play, Rythm panel, Bubble Up panel, and the Miscellaneous panel. First, the Rythm panel. I want you to know that if you use default Rythm options, that process is a very good process just using the default. You will be very happy with the output, but let's say that you want to tweak it a little bit and see the different outputs that you might get. Here's where you would do it on this screen. So if you'll notice, you have the option to run either a family, an individual, or a resident duplicate identification process. What that means is 1 per family. So all of the Prados in my household, meaning only 1 Prado would survive. Individual, meaning in my house, if there was Cindy Prado and Joe Prado and Jill Prado, they would all survive because we all have different names, even though we're all at the same address. Resident, again, what that means is 1 per resident. So all would drop off except the 1. So there can be Cindy Prado at the resident, and there can also be Joe Sample. I was trying to think of a name. Joe Sample at the resident, and both of those people would survive because, or excuse me, not by resident, one per resident, my bad. Anyways, so right here we allow you customization for your weighting. So if you choose to add more weighting, that means when it's going through the matching process, you want more weight to be put on a particular item. So for example, let's say that you wanted more weight on the first name and it's 50%. So you put 50 and you would need to put another 50% divided out somewhere else. As long as your percentages equal out to 100%, we allow you the customization of adding your own weighting to the duplicate identification process. Some new features that we've added in for you right here at the top allow zip for to be different. What this means is if you have two addresses where the names were exactly the same, the addresses were exactly the same, but the zip code were the same and the +4 was different, they might not match. But if you turn this feature on, then you get a better chance of them matching because now it would allow the +4 to be different. Up above that, another new feature we've added for you is place net records to bubble up into duplicate records. Well, I'll explain the bubble up screen on the next one, but what that means is the information that you've asked to be moved up into the net record will also be the same information on the duplicate record if you turn that feature on. To the right of that, another great feature, disable blank versus non-blank unit comparison. What that means is, so let's say, for example, I had Cindy Prado, Anchor Software, Suite 300, 123 Main Street, and then I had Cindy Prado, Anchor Software, 123 Main Street, but it was missing the suite number. If you turn this feature on, what it does is it can still compare the two and be able to find a match because it's allowing one to be blank and the other one not to be blank. So again, that's more customization that we add in there for you. Towards the very bottom, you'll see another great feature we've added in for you. It says, allow transposition of address, street, and apartment numbers. You might ask, what does this mean? Well, what that means is, so in the example I gave a while ago, my suite number was 300. Let's say the suite was 330. If one address had suite 330 and the other address had suite 303, what that means is it's assuming that at some point somebody had fat-fingered and it should have been 330, but it was 303, or it should have been 303 and it was 330. It also accounts for that as in part of the address, as it states right here, the transposition or the street. Up above that, you'll see the feature allow company data to be considered as name data. So in the previous example, again, that I gave you before, so let's say that one said Cindy Prado, Anchor Software, 123 Main Street, and the other one said Anchor Software, 123 Main Street. Well, if you turn this feature on, now the two will match because now Anchor Software has been used as part of the name and it was also present in the other record, so now they can match. So we've given you a lot of customization options on here. Play with them, but just know that using the default, you'll get great results already. Next, let's go ahead and show you that bubble up feature that I was talking to you about. What this means for you is, let's say that you have a record and it has the name, address, and phone number, or excuse me, name, city, state, and zip, and one of the duplicate records has a phone number, but it didn't have it in the surviving net record. Well, we can take care of that for you. Right here, if you identify us for us the field that you want to move up into the surviving record, then we can add that information into the surviving record by simply identifying the fields. It can be more than one field, by the way, and then we add all that information. It gets rolled up into the surviving record. You can also choose a method of how you want that applied by doing the same thing here. And an example of that is, you might ask, well, can you show me? I'm kind of confused what that means. Well, here's an example. So in this example, we have 3 records. We have record 1, Alex Smith, record 2, Smith, Alex, and record 3, Alex Smith. What we've done is, and let me give you a closer picture of it, what we've done is we have rolled up the information from the first record, which is Anchor Software, 400 Chisholm Place. The second record, we pulled Plano, Texas. And the last record, we pulled Alex Smith and 75075. And they give us one complete golden record, Alex Smith, Anchor Software, 400 Chisholm Place, 300 75075, Plano, Texas. So I hope that cleared it up a little bit for you and you understand more what the Bubble Up feature can do for you. That's a great feature. I love it. Next is a miscellaneous panel. So as a part of the normal process, we use the name, company if available, city, state, and zip as a part of the matching process. But let's say that you have an email address that you also want to compare when going through the process. You can do that here. All you have to do is identify the field that you want to add as part of the matching process and that is in your data, and you've done that by your layout, by the way. And then you add that, and it'll be used as part of the matching process. But you may ask yourself, well, I want more weighting applied to that. We got you taken care of. You can also do that here by adding the field that you would like to add on the weighting percentage. And the weighting, if you recall, on the Rythm screen that I showed you, that allows you to add more weight to the matching process. So once you've done that, click Add, add that information. Or if you've already added it the first time and you decide, I want to add that weighting after all, go ahead and add your information and just hit the Modify button. It's all taken care of. It's going to be used as a matching process. Next, the report section. The report section is basically exactly what it says. It has 2 panels, the reports panel and the reports detail panel. We're nearing the end of your process. So the reports panel, here's where you allow you to customize your report. So as you'll see, there's a report heading and a report logo. If you don't fill these out, they'll come out with the default, which is anchor information for the heading and the anchor logo on the report. But we allow you customization. So you can add your own report heading as well as your own logo. One step further, let's say that you're doing this for your customer and you want to provide him nice, pretty reports. Add his heading in there and his logo. And boop, you give him one report that looks beautiful, has all the information, and has his own logo and his own name of his company on the report. Great feature, huh? Thought you'd think so. Also, on the duplicate reports, it defaults to 100 entries. So when you see the duplicate reports, you'll see 100. Well, we've also allowed you customization. That's the key. So this whole process, we're allowing you customization. You can choose how many. Do you want less than 100 or more than 100? You simply just enter that information here. Let's say you only want 25. You don't want to have to page through a bunch of screens. You add 25 and you get 25 on your duplicate report. So a great feature that we've added in for you. And again, customization is the key word. The reports detail panel, these are where all the reports get produced. And in order to view them, you can either click on View or they'll be in your active working directory. So they come out in two formats, text format or PDF format. And if you recall, let's say that you're giving this to your customer afterward. You don't want to give them a text report. You want to give them a nice, pretty PDF report. So here's where you can give them that information because we've already produced it in PDF format for you. Great, huh? I thought so too. Also, like our other OS systems, we give you the capability to zip your project up. So if for any reason you are unsure as to why you're getting the outcome that you're getting or you're seeing the duplicates drop that you're seeing and you want us to look at it, we give you that ability by choosing this zip up project. So what that does is it compresses the files that we need in order to recreate that information here, which is like the input file, the output files, any layouts you might have, as well as your project. So then you can send that information directly to us and we can look at it for you and answer any questions that you might have. So that is the bulk of it, but if you recall at the very beginning, I told you that I was going to show you our new detailed enhanced viewer, and you can get to it by simply clicking on this detailed viewer button. So let me give you a closer view of what that looks like. So here you go. Here's our new detailed enhanced viewer. The great thing about this viewer is not only can you see all of the records, not just 100, not just 25, but you can see all of your duplicate records within here, but you can see them according to what fields that you've chose within your layout. You can also see a specific record. So if you look right here, you can page down and scroll down through all of your records and they show all together. You can also click on a particular column and sort your data by that particular column. Also, if you'll notice, we've color-coded the duplicates for you so they're a lot easier to read. So you'll notice some have blue and some have gray, blue and gray. Well, that signifies that's one duplicate group. You also have the ability to change those colors by your application settings that we've done for you within your GUI. So we've allowed a lot more customization. Also, you can see a specific sequence group of duplicates, and I'll show you that in just a few. First of all, let me explain the layouts. So based on the fields that you have in your output layout, and this happened to be an example of one, this happened to be my output layout, I have all of these fields in my output layout. Let's say I don't want to show the footnotes. I simply uncheck the footnotes and do reload fields. And now when I see my new report, guess what? No footnotes are showing. So we allow you to customize how you want your report to look. And you can also print from this screen and print your reports according to how you've customized it. So we have allowed a lot more flexibility, a lot more customization. Plus, not only that, as you can see all of the duplicates just looking at the screen, which is a great, great, great new feature that we've added in there. Also, as promised, if you only want to see just one set of duplicates rather than going through the whole duplicate file itself, if you simply just type in the sequence number from that group, because it assigns per group, then you can see just that one group up close and personal at a glance, see the surviving records, see the records that matched against it, what list codes they had, what addresses they had, so that way that you can see and be able to study it a lot better. So that is our new detailed viewer. I hope that you're impressed because I am. And I'm sure that you will love using our MaxDup OS program. I want to thank everybody for attending our webinar today. If you have any questions or need more information, you can visit our website at www.anchorcomputersoftware.com.